And there we go. Yes, welcome to the Movie Madhouse. I'm Rob.
I'm James.
Look at that. These
I'm
guys
not practice.
talk over top of each other.
There now I see the red live thing you were telling me about before.
Yes, up in that corner. Yes, I was explaining that to Jason earlier. Are we live? No, you'll see it in the corner. I don't see anything in the corner. That's because we're not live. It's not there yet.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yes.
I only did this a couple times before. I'm trying to make my screen bigger. It's not working.
Well, yeah.
That'll...
Turn it like you did.
No, this is fine.
This is fine.
It's more
Okay.
comfortable for me to hold the phone like this. So
There you go. And that's what's important if you got to hold it.
Yep.
Okay. So today's topic is top 10 Vietnam movies. We've kind of taken on that kind of role now. We've been posting lists that we get together and print up. So where's my list here? There it is.
yeah, I wasn't aware of the exact format. I admit, my bad. I haven't been keeping up.
Not a worry.
But so I will try to put together a list and I'll post it to the comment section under the video.
Okay. Well, as we go through too, I'll throw some down. So let's pick. Jason can go first. What's a good Vietnam movie that you can think of?
I can tell you my personal favorite.
Oh,
and that's Full Metal Jacket.
Okay. Guess we'll start with one. There we go.
Like that I can't. I to do a full list. You know, Full Metal Jacket is my number one. Platoon, of course, is amazing. Would you count Born on the 4th of July?
You're just gonna rattle them all off, aren't you, buddy?
It's a Vietnam War film. He comes back from it, but yeah.
Okay.
Let's focus on Full Metal Jacket. What do you like about Full Metal Jacket that makes it your number one? It's your number one.
Yes, it's just everything. Like from the spot on casting. You know, everybody who played their roles like you can't picture anybody else in those roles.
Vincent D'Onofrio is iconic.
Yes, and of course it launched the acting career of Arlie Ermey.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that everybody by now, I'm sure everyone knows the whole story. There, he was not an actor.
Yeah,
he was brought in to train and became an actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and then Matthew Modine, just the way he carries through the movie, and you see his progression all the way through. And then Adam Baldwin just kind of steals that whole second act.
Actually, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. That is a good.
The only issue I had with his character was he's got such a weird name. It doesn't make sense. Just Animal Mother. Yeah,
well, a lot of them had nicknames that were kind of weird, and some of them were named after their city or their state or whatever, but some of them had weird names.
He certainly did.
At least it was original. See?
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
You know, when you say Animal Mother, there's not another person running around with that name.
It's Jane.
Okay. Dear Stanley Kubrick, we need an Animal Mother prequel movie, please.
Yep. That's going to fall on deaf ears right now, I think.
It's called Firefly.
Yeah, that's the prequel to Platoon.
No, Full Metal Jacket. Platoon.
Oh, sorry, Full Metal Jacket. There we go. All right, James, what's your number one?
Oh, we are doing that?
Yes.
Okay, my number one is The Deer Hunter.
Really?
Oh yes. I had forgotten about it.
I've never watched it.
No? Ooh.
No.
It's an intense movie, but got Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, John Cazale, Fredo from the Godfather movies. Because that's about a group of friends, and it was Michael Cimino's movie where he won Best Picture and stuff shortly before he did Heaven's Gate and everyone turned their back on him. But you got like a group of friends that are all gung-ho to go off to war, go off to Vietnam, and then they end up getting captured by the Viet Cong, and they're POWs, and they're forced to play Russian roulette. And they end up escaping I think John Savage is in there too. They end up escaping and getting separated and coming back, and the only one that they don't hear from is Christopher Walken's character.
It's a good movie. I liked it. It was just a little slow. You know,
I agree. The very first time I watched it, I thought the same thing. It was on the second viewing where it hit me.
Yeah, like
question.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish it, and then I have a question.
Oh, I was just saying, I liked it. I haven't rewatched it. I've only watched it twice. I watched it back to back when I had the VHSs, but it was very, very slow. But I thought it had an amazing story. But I haven't revisited it, so I don't know. Okay, fire away, Jason.
Is it true? Because I've never looked into this, but is it true that Christopher Walken's role in Pulp Fiction was a nod to his character Deer Hunter? Was there a connection there, or is that just the whole military thing that I'm putting it together?
I think it's just the whole military thing, because there's nothing about a gold watch or anything.
Okay.
There was
I thought I read somewhere that it was connected.
I can't look it up at the moment, but I don't think so.
Kenny Casanova says can't be better than Terminator Genesis. Maybe. And then there's Jamie Shea. Hey, Rob, how's it going with you, buddy? Well, it's going good with me. And Stephanie Line. She just likes to yell out my name. Robert Bellamy. So I'll say Stephanie Line.
Norm.
Yes, exactly. SpongeBob. My number one, it's actually the same as last week's. My number one is Casualties of War.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yes, that movie, because I think it was last week we did the topic most talked about films.
Or movies that we like to talk about the most.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here's a yo. Hey.
Yo.
Xeris? God, I hope I said that right. Probably not. I massacre names religiously. And there's Stephanie. But yeah, Casualties of War, I adore that film for how horrible it makes me feel. You know? Here's a comment. I don't think so. Christopher Walken died in The Deer Hunter.
Okay. Well, that pretty much cements it then.
Yes. Oh, and yes, I got it wrong. Of course I got it wrong. I'm going to call you Bob. There we go. I can't mess up Bob.
That is true. With it, I mean, granted, the movie's like decades old, and minor spoiler for an old movie, but yeah, he never really comes back from. No. He never physically comes back from Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Stephanie says, spoiler alert.
It's The Deer Hunter. It's like, The Godfather. Marlon Brando dies in it.
Here we go. Cyrus with
what?
So Cyrus. Is that how you guys would say it? Cyrus then? He says Cyrus.
Cyrus.
Cyrus with an X.
Cyrus.
Oh, and here we go.
Vietnam movie is Forrest Gump. Well, technically it is.
Yes, it is.
I was wondering that with this stuff. I was wondering if you would include films that have like bits in Vietnam, so like Forrest Gump. So,
well, on my list somewhere is Tigerland, and that movie takes place at boot camp and on like another training camp in country, but it never actually takes place in Vietnam.
Okay.
But it's still a Vietnam War film because they're training to go there.
Well, we are now back to Jason. What's your number 2 Vietnam movie?
Probably Platoon.
Yeah.
I want to say Heartbreak Ridge, but it's not specifically a Vietnam movie. And he even though Eastwood's character and his friends did have tours in Vietnam, they had been in other wars too. So I don't know if that quite counts.
I looked that one up for this list, and it takes place in the 80s, so it's not a Vietnam film.
Oh, yeah, but did they have a past in it? I didn't know if that would count. So, but to me, Platoon is still an amazing movie. I actually rewatched that about a year or so ago. I caught a good chunk of it on TV, and it's been a long time since I watched it, and I still love that movie.
Oliver Stone at his best.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Sheen's also in that. What was that? Willem Dafoe and Tom Berenger.
Tom Berenger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it Willem Dafoe who does the famous pose?
Yep. Because
Yeah.
he's shot.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Willem. Okay, James.
My number 2 was Jason's number 1, and that was Full Metal Jacket.
Really?
Yep. And that one, because that one was my number 1, and then I finally remembered earlier today. I think it was earlier today or last night, and I'm like, oh no, the Deer Hunter. So
was Johnny Depp?
Yeah, Johnny Depp, a very young Johnny Depp is in Platoon. Yeah.
Yes,
right.
I do remember that.
And I used to think for Full Metal Jacket, I mean, the first half is always going to be better than the second half, because the first half of Full Metal Jacket is probably one of the best first halves of any movie. Certainly the best boot camp, military boot camp of any movie. And then the second half, I came around on the second or third viewing to being not quite as good as the first half, but still a great second half.
It almost feels like two movies to me.
It does. You don't know how much time has gone past, but it is two very different movies, not just because of the absence of Gomer Pyle.
Yeah, poor Gomer.
Or whatever his actual.
I have no idea. Nope.
I'm kicking myself right now
Why?
What?
because it just hit me. No, my number 2 is not Platoon.
No.
No, it's not. Good Morning Vietnam.
Really?
Oh,
Yes, how I forgot Good Morning Vietnam. Again, I didn't have time to do the homework to prepare for this, so I apologize. But Good Morning Vietnam is definitely my number 2. Like, I can watch that and Full Metal Jacket like over and over. Like, it's just such a good movie.
That is an amazing role for Robin Williams too. You know,
One of his first dramatic pieces, wasn't it?
oh no, he did Dead Poets Society before that.
Was that Dead Poets was before? I thought it came after.
To
Okay.
my knowledge, it's before, because I think
Okay.
Dead Poets was one of his first serious.
Definitely Dead Poet. Like, those two movies are definitely probably his 1 and 2 for going dramatic.
I would say What Dreams May Come. I'd say What
That
Dreams
came
May
later.
Come, and no, but did you mean like number 1 as in best or number 1 as in first?
First.
Ah, okay. I would say Moscow and the Hudson.
Oh,
wait,
I forgot about that movie.
That was definitely the first Robin Williams movie I recall seeing.
I take it back. I'm totally wrong because there's another one also. Gart. World According to Gart.
oh yeah,
That one I've never seen.
and that one he filmed right after Popeye.
Yeah.
That was his
So
first.
I take back my comments about his first dramatic role.
There you go. Here's
Rambo First Blood, a Vietnam movie.
yes,
There's
it is.
Is it
Yeah, I would
Flash?
say
Because
yes.
it doesn't take place at the time of Vietnam.
No, but it's all about Vietnam post-traumatic stress.
Yes.
And there's
I would count it.
flashbacks.
Yeah, because I'm gonna jump. That's my number 10. That's why I will agree with him
Oh.
100%.
Oh.
But it's very interesting because my number 2 is Good Morning Vietnam.
Hey.
Right? That's why I thought it was funny when you changed it. It's like, yes, we're right. James is wrong. Okay, Jason.
I was not a fan of that one.
What? Oh,
I'll have to put Platoon at my number 3. So
okay, that's what I was going to say. I bumped that to number 3. So, James, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Tigerland.
Tigerland. Why?
The break. Yeah, because Joel Schumacher. Rest in peace, Joel Schumacher, who died recently.
I'm guessing because you said rest in peace.
Yes, I hope so. Yes, breakout role for Colin Farrell, and that one's all about basically Tigerland is the name of the training ground, as I said before, in country, so it's on the continent of Vietnam, but not there yet, because it's like they go to boot camp and then they're like, okay, we're going to it's almost like a duplicate or like a duplicate training ground. So it's like this is the closest thing to the real thing before you actually get there.
So it's a Vietnam training scenario.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, right near Vietnam, and you got like Colin Farrell playing Roland Boss, and he's basically he's like the Ferris Bueller of the military. He's like, he doesn't want to be there. He has all the ins and outs, knows all the right people, is the guy everyone likes, and just like shrugs off, doesn't acknowledge how cool he is. And for it being one of his first movies, he does an awesome Southern Texas accent.
I haven't
Sure,
seen
he wasn't just channeling Bill Murray from Stripes.
That's what
Plus-
I'm thinking.
Plus the Texas accent.
Yep. Harry says nobody said Apocalypse Now yet.
And nobody will.
Oh, it does come up on my list. Oh, it does.
I can't put it on my list. I can't.
No.
Not that I have a list per se. I don't have a full 10 for sure, but I maybe I could put the first half of the movie on my list. But after that, it falls apart.
It's my number 9.
I can't put it on my list because I don't like it. The only thing I would put it on is the only part I like about it. Here it is. The only two parts I like about it. The end with Marlon Brando, and there's the scene with Robert Duvall when he does the victory speech.
Yeah.
Out on the beach.
But all that reminds me of is, have you ever guys seen The Chase? Charlie Sheen, Christy Swanson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like he like robs the bank and like kidnaps her, and they're getting to know each other, and they're driving down the highway, and there's some conversation going on, and he says something to her and something about clowns, and you see her just turn and she's looking at him and squinting her eyes, and then it cuts back to him, and he's like, "What are you looking at?" And he's in full clown makeup and costume driving the car. But that's not the part, because this is one of the few 80s or 90s movies. What?
I'm not seeing the connection to Apocalypse Now.
I'm not there yet, because this is one of the few like early 90s movies that actually has a post-credit scene like Ferris Bueller. The movie ends, the credits go, and then up pops Charlie Sheen in a full clown makeup and costume driving the car, doing a perfect impersonation of Robert Duvall, doing that victory speech, that smell, that gasoline smell. But he's like dressed like a clown and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Really?
Ryan says it's a great surfing movie.
That guy likes surfing way too much in that movie.
Right?
Charlie, don't surf.
Well, my number 3's already been talked about twice now. It's Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. All right.
I think this list might see a little bit of overlap.
A little bit, because there aren't that many Vietnam War films. I looked.
So did I. There's like 78 or something like that.
Well, that I'd seen. I only found maybe 15.
Gotcha. Well, Jason, what's your next pick?
Unless you're out of
my list. I'm pretty much out of. There's one coming to mind that I know I watched a couple times back in the 90s. It starred Michael Dudikoff, but I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. But
Michael Dudikoff was mostly known for all those American Ninja movies.
Right, yeah. So that's what got my attention, is Michael Dudikoff doing a non-ninja movie. But I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it. But I know I enjoyed it because I watched it like a few times.
Unless it was Unless it was that Tour of Duty TV show or China Beach.
This was a movie for sure.
Oh, okay.
Platoon Leader.
Platoon Leader?
Oh, are you looking it up?
Yep.
I have not heard of that.
88 canon film set in Vietnam War, directed by Aaron Norris, stars Michael Dudikoff and Michael DiLorenzo. Sorry.
Oh, the infamous Canon films.
Yes.
I want to see the documentary about them.
I don't remember a whole lot about that movie, but something stuck with me because it gets still creeps up in my head. There's one scene in particular where I remember like an attack helicopter coming in and just swarming like missiles at a target.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you ticked him off.
Apparently.
There it is.
Okay.
Platoon leader.
Something about that movie stuck with me, and so I might as well put that on the list because my list is going to be running kind of short.
Well, fair enough.
All right, stop sharing. There we go. And James, what do you got?
So my number 4 is We Were Soldiers. The Randall Wallace directed, Mel Gibson starring Vietnam film about the air cavalry, I guess.
Oh my God, I think that's the movie. What's the matter? What happened?
Sorry, I just randomly.
It looked like you guys
another Vietnam movie called Operation Dumbo Drop.
Oh, that's true. I've never seen that. That's Bill Murray and Dennis Leary, I think.
Yeah, it was a Disney movie.
Yep.
Yeah. I also can't find it anywhere.
But anyway, We Were Soldiers. Did not mean to digress.
No, it's okay. I saw you guys freeze for a second. I'm like, wait, am I getting booted?
Yeah, I thought something happened.
Oh yeah, this one almost made my list too. Hamburger Hill.
Hamburger Hill made my list.
Did it? Ooh, we'll get to that.
Because that was one I watched not too long after watching Platoon. I'm like, this is so much better than Platoon.
And there's my sister. Yo, bro. What did she say here? Has anyone seen the new Tom Hanks movie?
Is she talking about Greyhound?
I think that's it. That's
It's
World War II, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think it's out yet. I think it's going to streaming, but I don't think it's out yet.
I don't think it's been released.
No. But I have seen the clips.
Yeah, I saw the preview.
Hanks movie.
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Was the Mr. Rogers movie.
Which was great. But yeah, We Were Soldiers. That's got a lot of stars in it. It's a really, really, like Mel Gibson, Sam Elliott, bunch of young actors. And I'm not sure which area of Vietnam it takes place, but it's one
I've only ever seen about 20 minutes of that movie.
Well, it's worth. I haven't watched it in a long time, but it was one of those ones where I only really needed to see it once to know that it was great, and at some point I'm going to go back to it. But I enjoyed it right off the bat. But it was a good follow up collaboration between those two, because Randall Wallace wrote Braveheart and Mel Gibson starred and directed it, and then Randall Wallace directed this one and Mel Gibson was in it.
Nice. Brandy said Gorky Park, and Gorky Park's an amazing movie, but it's not a Vietnam movie. So
every time I hear Gorky Park, I just think that Scorpions Winds of Change, but I know it's a movie.
Me too.
And there's Rocky. Hey, Rob. I don't know if I told you guys about Rocky. He has a Facebook pager group called Virtual Asylum, where they have wrestlers come on the weekend and do virtual signings.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. The one they did just recently was Animal.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yes. From Legion of Doom, Road Warriors.
There you go.
Well, it's the same thing.
Hey!
But you should see the list of people, because it goes right up until, I think Rocky was just talking with me today, right up until November now, every weekend.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, they got lots of people. And is Watchmen a Vietnam movie? You say no. Technically, yes, because parts of it happened during Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because remember
it takes place in the 80s, but yeah, the comedian and Dr. Manhattan.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because you see Dr. Manhattan, he's huge, and he goes and he just like obliterates everyone.
Yep, and then he cuts
counting Forrest Gump,
and then the comedian, and then the comedian kills his pregnant girlfriend.
Right. And oops, just got the theme. No worries, Bear. Everyone catches up. We're catching up. Oh, Rocky said, yeah, last week the Nasty Boys were on last week.
All right, so what was your number 4, Rob?
My number 4. Oh, actually, my number 3 was Good Morning Vietnam. My number 4, and again, a little bit of overlap, Platoon. So that makes the conversation on that one quick. It was good. People got shot. Willem Dafoe did a prey. And
all right.
Now, can Jason think of any more?
At this point, no. So I'll just chime in. Just James, what do you got for 5?
James, what's your 5?
Okay.
Can
All
you
right.
hear?
Number five is one I know of. Well, he froze for a second. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Number 5 is one I've mentioned before, and I think I mentioned it. One of the things that mentioned podcast was Uwe Altin. I think it's like 1968 Tunnel Rats. Those two. Anyway, it's called Rats, and it's basically his Vietnam War film, which I put as one of his best films. Not that many people give him credit for any of his films, but
Hey,
and I've said this before. It was one of the few where it actually showed reactions from the Viet Cong side. Because what? Hello?
Yeah.
James has got a little chop going on today.
Okay. Well, I got the exact same thing from you guys. Froze for a second.
No, we were just raptured by your voice and the information you're giving us.
No, I remember him talking about this movie. I just can't remember everything he said. I'm still not going to give it a chance because it's Uwe Boll, but
There's
I
honesty.
don't understand why everyone hates him so much. He makes decent movies.
Cabin
I know.
in or
House of the Dead.
House of the Dead. That's all that needs to be said.
That's a guilty pleasure for me. I have fun watching that one.
There's Rocky. Full Metal Jacket is my fave by far. Yeah, that's.
Hell yeah.
I'm just going to go back up to the list real quick because Full Metal Jacket was Jason's number 1. It was James's number 2. It was my number 3. So, yeah.
Interesting.
It hits the top for all of us on that one.
Okay.
My number 5, Born on the 4th of July.
Another one I haven't seen.
Oh,
It's one I've never gotten around to. Yeah.
it's one of those Tom Cruise movies I can tolerate. It's it is really good, but I love it because it deals with both. It's got the after effect too, because he gets wounded where he's paralyzed. So
Yeah.
he's now in a wheelchair when he comes home. So it adds
It's based
that
on a true story too, isn't it?
that I don't know. I know it's Oliver Stone.
Yeah, I don't know if it's based on one specific person, but it was definitely pieced together from the experiences of numerous veterans, I think.
Yeah.
I think he kind of just, after speaking with a bunch of veterans, he was able to put together a story that would be relatable to men of that in that situation.
The biography of Ron Kovic.
Oh, that implies true story.
Yeah.
The real Ron Kovic gave Tom Cruise his Bronze Star for his performance in this movie. Oh, well.
Wow. Okay, there we go.
I didn't think it was. Wow.
I'll have to get around to it one day.
James knows something. Look at that. Okay.
James knows how to Google.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why you saw me disappear for a second. I ran to get my other phone.
Ah.
I wondered because you started out going, I can't check right now, which means, oh, he only has one phone handy. Okay. Coming back just in case you think of one, Jason. You got one?
Well, okay. I don't know if this is going to count because this is a fairly new film, but I just want to mention because it does kind of fit with the theme because it's about a bunch of veterans and they do talk about their tour in Vietnam. But it's a movie that came out just like a month or two ago called VFW.
Oh, yeah, you told us about that one.
Yeah, it's
Stephen Lang and
Stephen Lang, Martin Cove, Fred Williamson, William Sadler, even George Wendt is in this.
Really?
So, yeah, going back to the Norm reference, yeah, he's in there for a little bit. About a bunch of veterans. The VFW is it's a veteran of foreign wars. It's a club for veterans. It's a bar, it's a dive bar.
it's the Legion.
Yeah,
It's the
essentially.
Legion, basically.
Essentially. And they get attacked by a swarm of drugged out freaks trying to, because a girl stole from the local drug lord and she's hiding there and everything. It's pretty gory and whatnot, but it's pretty badass to see these old veterans going back into combat kind of thing. It's pretty friggin' badass.
I gotta
I
check
mean,
that.
it's gory and like you want in that kind of film. Fred Williamson grabs this old machete that he had hanging on the wall. It's like, yeah, time to go back to business kind of thing. And it's just it's got a lot of badassness. And you got to think that some of some veterans, because you don't see too much of the PTSD on them, but you do see elements here and there in this movie. That's not what this movie's about, obviously. But just to know that they'll step up and they can go back to business if they need to.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Okay, I gotta check that one out.
I
James,
do recommend it. It's pretty fun.
VFW.
Yeah.
James, number 6.
My number 6 was your number 1, and that is Casualties of War.
Why is it so low?
It's probably because I do remember enjoying it a lot, but it's been so long since I watched it, I don't remember a great deal of it. I just know I liked it. That's why it's.
Who was leading
That's why
that?
Sean,
Michael
Michael
J.
J. Fox.
And Sean Penn.
Okay. What's the movie with Meg Ryan?
Oh,
Meg Ryan did one.
Under Courage or something like that. Courage.
Courage Under
Courage
Fire.
Under Fire. Yeah, that was a Gulf War film.
Gulf War. Okay.
Yeah.
Save that one for the war topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we do that's a totally different. I wasn't sure if we had agreed on Vietnam or war, so I made 2 separate lists, and the war films was a much bigger list than the Vietnam War films.
Oh yeah.
Lot.
Definitely a lot more in the chamber for that.
Just look at World War II. It's whoosh.
Yeah.
My number 6 is a little known film, but it's a freaking amazing film. Christian Bale and Steve Zahn. Rescue Dawn.
I haven't watched it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
another true story.
He's more of a comedic actor. He's the from Reality Bites.
Reality Bites, You Got Mail,
Daddy
Suburbia.
Daycare.
Daddy Daycare. Yep.
I haven't seen that, but yeah.
But yeah, and both he and Christian Bale lost so much weight for this film. Nothing like The Machinist for Christian Bale.
No. That's the extreme.
Oh my God! Yeah, here I'm gonna pull up a.
I know it's a Werner Herzog film, but I haven't seen it. I heard it's.
Really?
I've always heard it's really good. But I know it's based on a true story because there was a documentary put out with the dude's name in the title. Starts with a W, I think.
Just a second.
That one I totally missed my radar. That title doesn't ring a bell at all.
I remember seeing previews for it every once in a while.
I was working at a video store when this came out, so I got to take it home and test it, so to speak.
Oh yeah, these are my early. What year is it? 2000. Does that say 6?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was my early days of Galaxy, but I don't think we got it. So I saw the preview a lot, but we never got to see it.
Who's this guy?
I think that's
It's
Jeremy
Jared Leto.
Davies.
That's
No,
it.
I think it's
Davis.
Jeremy Davies.
Yep. Because I recognized him, but yeah, I'm not. They do have one spot in the movie where you get to see Steve Zahn, but there's Steve.
He's a great actor.
And there he is, cleaned up. But yeah, seriously, if you have not seen this one, oh, it's one to watch.
Rescue Dawn.
Abso-smurfin' Okay. Jason, have you got another one?
Go on to James.
All right, James. Number 7.
All right. My number seven is one from earlier this year. And it was one that we actually didn't get here, but I remember seeing the preview without sound, and it looked so good I had to see it. And then I saw the preview with sound, and it was no. No, it's called The Last Full Measure, and it stars Sebastian Stan, Bradley Whitford, William Hurt, Linus Roche, Christopher Plummer, Samuel L. Jackson, Peter Fonda, Ed Harris. Like it's got a pretty stacked cast. It's another based on a true story, and it's basically like the summary is 34 years after his death, Airman William H. Pitzenbarger Jr. is awarded the nation's highest military honor for his actions on the battlefield. Basically, it's sort of like what happened in Courage Under Fire, where they're investigating to see if she really deserved the Medal of Honor, if there's anything to disqualify her of it. Well, they're doing the same thing for this guy, although this being a true story. And Sebastian Stan kind of uncovers this helicopter pilot or helicopter medic's heroic efforts, and how there's kind of an effort to deny him of the Medal of Honor. So he's going around and he's interviewing all the men who were there, all the men that survived that he rescued. And it's a really, and John Savage is in this one as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I never even heard of that.
I haven't either.
It was, if you were in the galaxy earlier this year, you would have seen not necessarily the preview on the screen, but the big digital poster case that's right near outtakes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was flashing on that almost all the time. You'd see the poster of The Last Full Measure, and it's basically poster of a guy being lowered from a chopper into like jungle area.
Did it just suffer from getting lost amongst the pandemic, you think?
Kind of, because it looked like, you get a star-studded cast, and then it gets very limited release, and then it came and went without a whisper, and then months later, I'm like, when is this going to come out? And I finally found it at Walmart and stuff. So
Yeah, it probably got affected by the pandemic, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
With that kind
There
of
it is.
lineup, that kind of story, that definitely sounds like something that should have had a lot more exposure, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
it certainly should, because it's a good movie.
Christopher Plummer, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Peter Fonda, Ed Harris,
Sounds like a new
Samuel L.
concept,
Jackson,
too, like.
William Hurt play 4 of the vets that he goes to visit, and John Savage, so he's the 5th. It was the last I believe it was the last film Peter Fonda made before he died.
There's another one I got to watch now. Dang nabbit.
I have to try and find that for my dad, because I know that's the kind of movie he's going to go for.
Well, my number 7, we kind of touched on a little bit, but not a lot, is Forrest Gump. Because I just love that movie for the comedic edge to it. How they just drop him into situations, that are historically iconic, and he's bumbling through.
And they
I
did
haven't
it so
seen that one in a long
seamlessly, too.
time. Oh yeah,
The effects are good,
Yeah, like when they put him into all that old TV footage and whatnot, that's just amazing work.
Yes. He's getting the medal from JFK.
Yep.
Yes.
Or when he's talking to was it Johnson? He talked about getting shot in the butt.
Yeah.
And it looked like the president was whispering in his ear and stuff. Like, wow.
It was actually kind of funny. Recently, we watched not Full Metal Jacket. The Green Mile. So when Tom Hanks walks up onto the porch where Gary Sinise is sitting, I'm sitting there going, Lieutenant Dan. And he's beside me going, what? Never mind.
How many times have Hanks and Sinise worked together now?
Is it just those 2?
No, Apollo 13.
Oh, that's right, too.
Oh, that's right. Another one I haven't seen.
What?
Yeah, it's just one that I've never gotten around to.
Okay, shut off his stream.
Oh, please.
This is more fun with this.
Coming from the guy who didn't make a whole list.
Let me see here. ISE movies. I'm gonna find out. Looks like 5.
Really?
Beyond All Boundaries, Apollo 13, Magnificent Dissolution, The Green Mile, and Forrest Gump.
I think a couple of those.
So number 1 and number 3 I've never heard of.
I think they're documentaries.
Oh yeah, something about Buenos Aires, and the other one does look like. Here, hang on a second. I will share the screen again. Come on, boom, boom, and share. There it is. Because it's this one, Walking on the Moon, and then Beyond All Boundaries. This looks like a Buenos Aires. Oh, it's a short.
It's a short film.
Narrated by Tom Hanks. So what the? Narrated by Tom Hanks. 3 for sure.
Okay.
Let's go for 3.
All right.
That's all I
Well,
know.
they're great. They're a great duo. Like they had such great chemistry every time. So, can't fault at all.
And this guy's true, right? Forrest Gump beat Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption for Best Picture at the Oscars.
I remember hearing another podcast saying,
Yeah,
and
and I have trouble arguing against that. As much as I love Shawshank, I really have trouble arguing against it. Forrest Gump is an amazing film.
I have no trouble arguing against that.
Oh, we can't hear James at all.
I remember hearing on another podcast. I remember hearing on another podcast.
I can't hear James at all.
Just a second, James. Boom, boom. Okay, try it now.
Hello.
There we go.
Okay.
Whatever you just said 10 seconds ago, repeat it.
I apparently apparently squished your audio when I brought you back in this first time.
Oh, okay. I remember hearing on another podcast them saying like Pulp Fiction changed the way filmmakers made movies for the next 10 years. Forrest Gump changed the way people said Jenny for the next 10 years.
Yep. Jenny. You can't say run without Forrest anymore.
That's true.
Run, Forrest, run.
And Shawshank is the beginning of Morgan Freeman narrating everything.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. James, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is, it was mentioned by someone down in the comments, is Hamburger Hill.
Hamburger Hill.
I vaguely remember that movie, but what comes to mind the most for me with that movie is a conversation I had with my father when that movie came out.
Yeah.
Because he was telling me that he had rented this new war movie, and I said, I said, which one? And he called it Pork Chop Hill.
Yep. It's that one.
Now, the funny thing is, there is a Pork Chop Hill. It's a World War II movie.
Oh.
Huh. So he just, got confused. But still, I did not know that it was a real movie. It wasn't until years later that I found out it was a real movie. So, but I laughed so hard when he called it that.
That's hilarious.
Admittedly, I don't remember a lot about it. I just remember liking it a lot more than Platoon. I watched it shortly after that. Another one I took home from Rogers when I worked there.
I find Platoon, for as much grit and realism, it was still Hollywood compared to Hamburger Hill.
It would overshadow it for sure.
Yeah, Hamburger Hill had a grittiness I have not seen duplicated in an actual Vietnam.
You know what?
Yeah,
now that you're saying that, I think I remember it that way too.
Because it says it was based on, centered around one of the bloodiest battles in Vietnam.
Yes. Okay, well, my number 8, again, another short conversation, The Deer Hunter. So
I feel like I need to put that on my list of I have to watch this movie to have any further credibility.
Yeah. Yes,
that's one of the reasons why I watched a bunch of the classics like Citizen Kane and whatnot, for this podcast. So I feel like I better put the Deer
Classic.
Hunter in my cycle. You know?
Yeah, well, it's one of those ones, just like Apollo 13. I got to get around to watching it.
Yes, you do. That's your homework.
Oh, there's my buddy Mike. Pork Chop was a Korea movie, I think.
Korea movie. Okay. I know it wasn't Vietnam. That much I know for sure because it
I've
came
only
out
seen
considerably later.
I think I've only seen one or two movies about the Korean War, I think. And one was a Korean movie. It was Taegukgi, Brotherhood of War, and it was about the North and South fighting. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Pork Chop Hill. American battalion led by Lieutenant Joe fights against the Chinese to recapture Pork Chop Hill while the ceasefire negotiations continue. Yeah, that's the Korean War.
Okay.
But that explains why Mike knows, because Mike is a classic movie junkie, and that's a topic he's thrown at us. We should have a classic movie episode, which I think would be wicked because there's lots. But this has got Gregory Peck in it. Let me see. Gregory Peck.
It's a
George Papard.
That's a pretty broad term, though.
Yes, we need criteria for what is considered a classic film.
I'm thinking, anywhere from the 40s to the late 60s, early 70s. That era.
All right.
But Mike, please chime in. What do you think classic movie means? We'll go with that.
If he wants us to discuss, Mike, if you want us to discuss classic films, you give us the time criteria, please.
Okay. James, number 9.
Number 9. My number 9 is Missing in Action 2: The Beginning. It's a Chuck Norris film, and it's apparently I've only seen. This is the only Missing in Action film I've seen, but apparently it's a prequel to the first Missing in Action. It says it's set in the early '80s, but it's they're prisoners of war captured during the Vietnam War. Him and a few other Americans and their plans to try and escape, and they're at the hands of this like pretty sadistically torturous. I don't know what's his rank. It's, Colonel Yin. He's just an evil bastard. But you got Chuck Norris, Steve Williams, John Wesley. The only person you really recognize would be Chuck Norris and Steve Williams. Steve Williams, who was, I believe he was the captain or lieutenant from 21 Jump Street.
Oh, I know Steve Williams.
Yeah. Those are about the two most recognizable faces in the movie.
He's also from Supernatural.
Yes. At some point.
That's a TV show, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what point he... Is he... Because Sterling K. Brown is the one vampire hunter who gets turned into a vampire. I thought he was Luther.
In Missing in Action?
No. In Supernatural.
What kind of Vietnam movie are you watching?
I'm talking about Supernatural.
Vampires in Vietnam? What?
I'm writing a script tonight.
I'm sure one exists.
That has to have been done by now. Come on.
Let's see here.
I mean, Fred Williamson talks about the Vietnam War and vampires. No, he talks about the Vietnam War in From Dusk Till Dawn, but I don't know if he talks about vampires.
Wolverine's been in the Vietnam War.
Yep.
Against vampires?
I don't know about vampires, but adamantium claws in the Vietnam War. So
I considered putting X-Men Origins on the list, but it's such a small segment of the movie.
It is, and it's interesting because I looked up a list where I saw like 78 of them, and it's on there. So I think they referenced anything that hit on it.
Yeah, that happens a lot with online lists. If it has any sort of even just a few seconds of a scene, they'll count it.
Yeah. Mike, we really need you to chime in now because Glowin, I hope I'm saying your name right because I messed up the other one. Classic movies, do they include musicals or no? Because a lot of musicals were filmed back then.
I would say yes.
I would say yes. We just need a time. We need a time period.
Yep.
There.
Come on, Dutch. Tell us.
Because you could say 80s or 90s movies are classic movies at this point.
Yeah. I would say, because of where we are, I would say 80s would definitely be considered classic for sure.
Nah, they're still almost new releases. Let's keep talking.
All right.
My number 9, again, we've already discussed it, Apocalypse Now. And a big part of it was because it's a Harrison Ford movie, so I have to love it.
A little bit.
Yep. And it's got a cute little nod to George Lucas. You know, if
Does
you
it?
look, oh yeah, Harrison Ford's name tag says Lucas.
Oh, okay.
And actually,
I do remember that. Yeah.
George Lucas actually had the project first and got working on other things. I think Star Wars might have been one of them, and handed it off to Francis Ford Coppola. So as a nod, he put Lucas on the military outfit.
Have you ever seen Apocalypse Now Redux?
Yes.
I haven't seen the final cut he did of it, but I've seen the original and Redux.
I think I have.
Redux has been around for several years, and then the final cut just came out last year, I think. If it was called the final cut, I can't remember.
Everything's got a final cut.
I can't get too far into that movie. I just can't do it. It just doesn't hold me.
Well, you wouldn't get far into the Redux because it's just even more boring.
Oh, there we go. That's his second favorite movie, Apocalypse Now. But I think that's just a sign of the times then. Okay. Hey, John, who are you talking to? Apparently the voices. I'm not sure what she's up to. During that time, because that was the time of Deer Hunter, you know, and films like that, they were in that. Apparently we ticked off James.
Stop booting me for having an opinion.
Lost audio again.
Actually, I didn't do it that time. That was on your end. Your feed stopped for a minute.
All three of us went black for me.
Yeah.
I can't hear him again.
Oh, you can't? Here, just a second.
No.
Okay, James, talk.
Hello?
There we go.
There we
All
go.
right.
Good. It's good I found a fix for that.
Nice.
But they were all the slow burn type movies. You know, they didn't have the high action war movies like you see now, like Pearl Harbor and things like that.
It is.
They wanted to tell a deeper story.
I'll give you that it's very comparable to Deer Hunter in that it's a psychological film more than like complete action from beginning to end.
Exactly.
You also got to remember, Apocalypse Now is based on the book Heart of Darkness, which has nothing to do with the Vietnam War. They adapted it.
No, I know.
Model.
It's just like the movies, like Kurosawa movies or The Magnificent Seven. They're originally based on Shakespeare.
Or Saw.
Or did you say you were Saw?
Just throwing that in there.
Talk about a leap of connections.
I'm sure a bigger stretch has been made, but I'd have to dig deep on that one.
No doubt.
All right.
James. Number 10.
Number 10. My number 10 is a Vietnam War film with a largely black cast called The Walking Dead.
See, now I saw that on the list, so I thought, okay, they must have some flashback episodes in the TV show or something.
No, because my brother and I saw this in the video store all the time. So we decided to rent it one time, and it's got like Alan Payne, Eddie Griffin, Joe Morton, Bernie Mac is in there, and it's basically a platoon of black soldiers that go on a mission, and then partway through the mission, they realize that they've been sent as decoys. They're expendable, but you've got Eddie Griffin just being Eddie Griffin in the movie, like with like I'd say the most one of the only like I don't remember a whole lot of it, but one of the main lines from the movie is they're always talking back to their sergeant and just like, no, sir, it's sir, and he's like Sergeant Berkeley, suck my nuts, sir, and it's. I don't know. It was an entertaining movie. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be, but it was an entertaining movie, and that's why it's at my number 10. And it also wasn't that common back then.
Again, I've not heard of that one either.
That's what I'm here for.
Right? Help me find obscure movies, James.
Yes.
Walking Dead.
I'm just peeking. No, okay. Maybe it's on YouTube. Because I'm wondering.
It's not. It's. I don't think it's very easy to find these days.
Well, not when you type in that name. No. Yeah, I'm just curious who she's talking to. Unless she's on the wrong feed, I'm just wondering if there's a feed that we can't see, and that concerns me.
Oh.
My number 10, we already mentioned. Well, we mentioned it was my number 10, but we didn't talk about it. Was First Blood.
Oh,
And,
that's right. You said that off the bat. Yeah.
Yep. I know it takes place after Vietnam, but that is such a Vietnam movie because of the impact that it had on the character.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and it's fresh for me. I only watched it for the very first time less than a year ago.
really?
Yeah, I watched it in preparation for Last Blood, because it's been a long time since I've seen Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3. But I remember those movies pretty distinctly, so I didn't. But I had never watched First Blood.
What about Rambo?
Oh yeah, that's also still fresh.
Okay.
I had never watched First Blood.
I think the first time I watched it was 7 or 8 years ago, shortly after I got to Chatham. I found they put out the DVDs in some special edition, so I finally watched it, and I thought it was pretty good. I'd certainly put it above Rambo 3.
I haven't watched the last one yet.
Last Blood. Oh my God, Last
If
Blood.
you're going to watch it though, try to find the extended cut. Extended cut, they added about 10 minutes or so of a new opening scene that adds much more character development that really makes it a better film.
Which one are you talking about? Because the only extended cut I'm aware of was Rambo, the fourth one.
No, they did. They put out an extended cut of Last Blood.
Did they?
Yes.
I am unaware of this. I got it.
I saw Last Blood in the theater.
Yeah.
And then the extended cut came out, and I wanted to know what the difference was. And right off the bat, it opens with an entire 10-minute scene that was not in the theatrical version, and it really does add a lot more character development that just makes it a much better film.
This is the only version I ever found. It was at Walmart, but it's not extended.
Well, there is an extended cut out there.
I've seen some extended cuts, but they're only extended in the US. In Canada, they don't have that label, but they're essentially the same film. I'm not saying that's the case here, but
well, have you watched that Blu-ray?
Yeah, I've watched the Blu-ray. That's how I saw it. I didn't see it in the theater.
Did it have the opening scene with Stallone with Rambo trying to save a couple that are lost in a flash flood situation?
I don't think so. Not integrated into the movie. Oh. Hang on.
We're touring again.
I don't know.
Because that's what they added in the extended cut that was not in the theatrical. And that's I don't want to say any more because I don't want to spoil the ramifications and what it means. But it really made what was already a really good film an even better film.
No, because it pretty much just starts with him on the ranch. For me.
Okay. Yeah, then you don't have the extended cut then.
James, I'm so disappointed.
But First Blood blew me away when I watched it last year. The First Blood was to me, that was an amazing film. And that was that Stallone's first or was Rocky first?
Oh, Rocky.
Rocky was first? Okay. Well, then that's 2 home runs in my book. Rocky and then First Blood. That's 2 home run films.
And then Rhinestone. Come on.
Well, yeah. If he can get to work with Dolly Parton, what's not that's amazing.
Oh yeah, Screen Rant has it. Good. Boom. We're on a big search now. Do. James, look at your screen.
Oh, it's there is an international version.
Oh, it's released on Amazon Prime.
Okay. I couldn't remember which streaming service I had seen it. I knew
it does mention the opening that you said, Jason.
Yeah,
But
and I'm telling you,
But
that
it's not-
is the better way to watch that film.
Well,
how did you see it?
Prime.
Prime? Okay.
that's
Well,
what
maybe one day they'll put it out on disc as well. In which case, I'll have no problem getting the double dip because that movie's amazing. Best Rambo movie in my opinion, and I thought the Rambo 4 was awesome.
next to First Blood, of course.
No, Rambo First Blood is probably near the bottom, just above Rambo 3.
Oh, we have technical difficulties. Something's going on. Golan says, I miss Blockbuster and Hollywood videos. I love renting Grindhouse or B-movie titles blind. That was a blast. Just going in and looking at the boxes and going, yeah, I'm going to test that one because it's got a naked woman with slime.
Yeah.
Oh, growing up, I can remember just I would have to pass the video movie shop to get home from school every day, and I would stop in there and I would just troll the aisles, particularly the sci-fi fantasy aisles. And then once I got old enough where they would actually rent them to me, I started watching some of them, and oh my gosh, I did not have the sensibilities that I have now to be able to watch films like that. But
Oh, yeah.
I watched so much garbage back in the day.
When I lived in London, I worked at a video store called Empire Videos. And basically what I did is I did their drama section, and I would take the top row and I would watch it over the weekend. And then I would do the next row. And then I went to the action. Then I went to the horror. And I did the whole store that way.
Holy cow.
It took me almost a year. But yeah, I got to the whole store. And then I was just watching the new releases as they came in.
That's crazy.
I was insane. Yes, 100%. It was right next door to a pizza. So there was a lot of pizza, a lot of videos. And yeah, not the best. But yeah, so there we go. There's our top 10-ish movies for Vietnam. I kind of like this, so we can put up the list, which I've already done. And then
Again, I'll try to put one together, but you know what? I don't know if it's worthwhile at this point, but I will definitely be doing my homework going forward.
I honestly think if you tried to do the last 5, like I just put TBA, to be announced, for years, right? But I guarantee you're going to have at least 4 of the same ones that we've already talked about.
Oh, no doubt.
You know, this is such a little niche group. I think we were going to step on each other's toes a lot.
Exactly. The world, if we did one about World War I or World War II or just war movies in general, vastly different lists.
And I got Mike Nada has sent us his idea, and I'll talk to you about it in just a second. But for now, I guess that's it. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
All right.
For another week of the Movie Madhouse, I'm Rob.
I'm James.
And I'm Jason.
Sure, you guys step on each other at the beginning, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.